Could you give a brief description of what you're going to be doing today?
Yes, today we're going to be making sauce, tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce. A lot of people call it different things. New York they call it sauce, and Philadelphia they call it gravy, but this is our tomato sauce or spaghetti sauce. So we're going to start off with our ingredients. We have olive oil, just regular olive oil. Don't use a real good olive oil. It gives it a little bit bitter taste when you cook it. We have 1 carrot. We have some celery hearts, half a cup of fresh garlic, 2 large onions, about a cup of fresh Italian parsley. It has to be Italian parsley. It can't be curly. And we have a half a cup of fresh basil. Fresh ingredients we always use in our sauce. Then of course we have our Alta Cucina whole tomatoes. It makes the best sauce. We've tried all different kinds, and this is the best one we've come up with. And also from the same company, it's called Full Red. It's an all-purpose crushed tomato. Very smooth, very mild in taste. It's very good for our tomato sauce. So we're going to start off by, we have 2 pans here. I got a heavy skillet for our ingredients, and then I have a little less heavy one for our tomatoes. I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. My father taught me this years and years ago, I'd have to say about 40 years ago when I was about 15. Now we're going to heat up our heavy skillet, and we're going to add the olive oil. That is a half a cup of olive oil, regular olive oil, not extra virgin. Then we're going to get our, while that's heating up, we're going to get our onions ready. And we have 2 large onions. We're not going to chop them up fine. We're just going to, just a little quick dice. And then we're going to add that to that olive oil. While that's getting hot, we'll be cutting. This is the way my dad taught me. This is the way I learned. This is why I'm showing you the way that he taught me how to do it. Now we're going to add our onions right to the oil while it's getting hot. We're going to get them nice and caramelized. We're going to get the nice fresh flavor out of that while they're in that hot olive oil. Then our next step is to get our parsley and basil ready, which I just ripped the stems off, because we're going to blend all this up, so it doesn't much matter if you have some stems. Stems actually have some flavor in it. Okay, where the onions are cooking a little bit in there. We're going to wait for that to get hot, and then we're going to add our garlic. We add this stuff a little at a time. We don't want to overload our pot, otherwise it won't cook as well. As they're cooking, we're going to prepare our tomatoes to go in the sauce. This is just a regular household blender. And I'm going to blend them up and get them started while we're waiting for those onions to get caramelized. Start it slow, and then we're going to finish it on high. I like to blend all the seeds up, because I don't really like to see the seeds in the sauce. We're going to add it to our other pot. Now we're going to put some heat to our other pot there. You can hear those onions cooking in there. Sounds really good. About medium heat on your tomatoes. I'll finish blending my tomatoes. We don't add the crush till the very end. Start it slow, and turn it on high. I like to keep the spoon in here to keep the bottom from burning. Now we're going to go over to our onions. both. I don't like the dirty, too many utensils. The more I have to clean. All right, they're starting to brown a little bit there. They need about 3 or 4 more minutes, then I'll add the garlic. Always rinse out our blender and our can. All that flavor's left in the can. We want to make sure we get it all. Okay. Cooking nice. Now this pot here is just for our ingredients. We're going to blend this after it cooks down and add it to our tomato product, which is the way I was taught again. So we're going to add our garlic next. I'm going to cook that just a little bit. We're going to get our carrots chopped. Carrots are for to sweeten the sauce up and to give it a nice rich red color. Celery heart's the same thing. Sweetens it up a little bit. It keeps that nice light color. I don't like dark sauce. The more you put in, the more it's going to be lighter in color. Okay, our garlic is brown. Once our garlic is brown, you don't want to cook your garlic too much. You're going to get a bitter flavor out of that. We're going to slow the cooking process down. We have our collagen chicken broth over here. And of course our celery and carrots we're going to add all together once we get that garlic a little brown. Our tomatoes are heating up. Sauce doesn't take all day to make, trust me. Follow these steps the way I'm doing it, it should come out just as good as my father's does. I won't say mine because it's his. Actually, it's my mom and my dad. I'm sure my mother had a hand in it. So the garlic is just about brown. It's browning. It's just about where I want it. I don't like to cook it too much further than that. I'm going to add my celery. We're going to add all the rest of our ingredients. Celery and carrots first. We're going to add our parsley and basil. Now we're going to blend this, so you don't really have to worry about that. You're going to get a lot of good flavor and broth. For this batch, we're going to use about a quart. We're going to add our salt and pepper to the tomatoes now. About a tablespoon of salt and about half a tablespoon of black pepper. I like to use black pepper. I just really like that flavor it gives. Now all we're going to do is we're going to cover the ingredients pot. We're going to cook that down for about, I'm going to say about a half hour, 20 minutes or a half hour on medium heat. Once that starts boiling, we're going to let it cool, then we're going to blend it and add it to our tomatoes. Keep an eye on your tomatoes, you don't want them to burn. Put them on low while you're waiting for the ingredients to cook. Okay, now we just turned our burner off. We're going to let this cool for about a half hour. Our tomatoes, our blended tomatoes are just getting nice and hot. So when we add our ingredients, it's all going to come together and give us one flavor. We're not going to get 3 different flavors, we're going to get one. So I'm going to take it off the stove and I'm going to put it into the blender, a little at a time. Still a little hot, so you really got to be careful unless you let it cool longer when you blend it so it doesn't pop. I'm going to use the pulse just so it doesn't blow the top right off and get burned. I'll put the cloth over it. So I'll get it going a little bit, and now I'll let it blend. Blend it real good. And this is all those flavors all coming to one flavor. then we're going to add it to our blended tomatoes on the stove. And we just repeat the process. It smells fantastic. You get all that garlic, the parsley, the fresh basil, the onion, that celery and carrots. Got one good flavor right now. Again, just be careful. Pulse it a little bit and let it blend in. Again, these tomatoes that we're using, I found that they're the best. You can get them at Tricolo's Food Service in Carbondale or Main Source down in Scranton. They might sell them by the can. I don't know if Tricolo sells them by the can or by the case, but again, Main Source I know sells them by the can. Again, just be very careful if it's still warm. You don't want to get splashed. Very hot. We're going to pulse it again to start. Then we'll let it blend. Once you get it going, it should blend without popping the top off. Then we'll mix while we're waiting for that to blend. Now we're getting that nice light color. So then when we add the crushed tomatoes, it'll make it a little bit darker. I like light red sauce. Now we're going to rinse our blender out. We're going to get all that flavor out of there and add it. Just a light rinse. You don't want too much water in there. Then we're going to mix it around. I turn the heat up a little bit now. Now I want it to get hot. Now the crushed tomatoes, when we add those, that's to your desired thickness. I like it clingy, not too thick, but I want it to cling to my pasta. And of course, I'll give it a taste. Fantastic. Taste that. All those flavors made one good flavor. I don't taste any distinct ingredient here. As that's heating, we're going to add some of our crushed tomatoes to our desired thickness. A little at a time. Keep stirring it in. You're going to get about 2.5 gallons of sauce out of this. Now, of course, if you want less sauce, you can just downsize the ingredients. I'm going to have the whole can because I like it. The texture is just a little bit too light for me. And some people cook their meatballs and their sausage right in here. You want to leave it thin until your meatballs and sausage are cooked in the sauce, which gives it more flavor, of course. And then you can add your crushed when they're cooked to your desired thickness. I'm just going to go a little thicker. I'm just going to make it that nice, rich red color. Just keep stirring it, you know, from time to time as it's cooking. And then when it starts boiling a little bit, you see fish eyes, which are just little bubbles coming to the top. You're pretty much done. Yeah, the thickness is just about the way I like it. First, I'm going to taste it. Now it's coming together. The longer this cooks, the better it's going to get. So I'm going to let it sit on the stove for about another 20 minutes, maybe a half hour, till I see those fish eyes. And once we see that, like I said, you can take it off, freeze it, refrigerate it, use it, whatever you want at that point. But that's our tomato sauce. For the next segment, we're going to be making marinara sauce. We're going to use the same tomato products. We're just going to cook them a different way. We'll show you how to make that nice chunky marinara. Okay, folks, we'll see you the next time with marinara sauce.